They create a mind link between the two and transfer this guy's mind into the other guy. He's now controlling the other guy's hands to play the video game. These beings claim to have rejuvenation chambers, and they would put bodies in them. And he's on a ship flying through the Milky Way galaxy. That's what it is, a giant disc, and he's sitting on this thing at Saqqara, which is Enki's Halls of Amenti. It's these underground halls that are there that I take people to every year that has this incredible hallway carved out of solid stone underground, and these alcoves are in there, and inside of each alcove, perfectly fitted, tight and snug, are these 60 and 70 ton, what look like sarcophagus.
What's sarcophagus?
What they claim they would put the dead body in,
Okay.
But it's not they're not sarcophagus because there's no dead bodies in them. They're clean. They're actually, you can eat off the floor inside of those things. I've stood inside of them. They're higher than my head, and I'm 6'4". The lids weigh like 40 tons. But if you read the Emerald Tablets, you discover those were the halls of Amenti, where these beings claim to have rejuvenation chambers. And they would put bodies in them, and they would literally had some type of technology that would transfer their consciousness into a new body when the other one wore out. And they would put the wore out body in these things and let them rejuvenate over time. Sounds crazy, but now modern science is doing the same exact thing. They literally are right now doing the same exact thing, learning how to transfer human consciousness from one body to another. They've even created mind links where they can transfer an active awake person's mind into a person that is already awake and conscious.
Wait a minute. Who's doing this?
Scientists at the Brain Institute and other laboratories all around the world. They have an experiment, and I'll get you the exact experiment that it was, where they have one gentleman in a room with a blindfold on and his hand on a remote control video game in front of him, but he can't see the video game. They have another gentleman in another room who's looking at the video game with no remote control. They create a mind link between the two and transfer this guy's mind into the other guy. He's now controlling the other guy's hands to play the video game.
No way.
Yes.
This is documented.
Real
actual
science. Actual science. I'll send you. And listen, in Russia, the 2045 project, Ray Kurzweil, they've already took a monkey and transferred its consciousness into a computer. That was done in 2010. In 2000, I think 16 or 17, it was to transfer human consciousness into a robot, which that's been done. In America, we have DARPA. They have the Avatar project. Look that up, the Avatar project. I wrote about it in my book, where they transfer a soldier's consciousness into a field robot, and then the only thing that gets damaged if the robot blows up, the symbiotic link is disconnected through consciousness, but the soldier's obviously not going to die. And so this has all been done. This is real science being actively used right now. By 2045, which is the 2045 project in Russia, they're looking to transfer human consciousness into an actual being, an actual avatar body. So they can take a skin cell from you, they can put it in a petri dish, they can get it under the right conditions, turn that skin cell into a stem cell, culture that, turn that into a group of stem cells, and then grow that into a full clone of yourself using your own stem cells, and then transfer your mind into your new body.
Whoa. I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
Ever.
And it's all in my book. This is real stuff, man.
How do you find this kind of stuff?
It just comes to me, when you start going down these paths of research, you become a magnet for information, and information just begins to come directly to you from all sources. And then when you look it up and dig deeper into it, obviously some of it's not good, you don't use it. But the stuff that is real, I write about it and I put my source links to it because I want people to know, like, this is real and you can go look it up yourself.
Wow. What? Let's go back to the pyramids and all these other wonders of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these wonders are the architecture and the strategy to build the buildings seem to be identical in a lot of these places.
Oh, yeah.
How do you explain that?
One master architect. If you look at the Emerald Tablets, got to go back to the oldest text that we know of, 38,000-year-old text. Thoth claims to have built the Great Pyramid. He said, builded I the Great Pyramid, patterned after Earth's force, so that it too might remain through the ages, and it sure has. So the Great Pyramid is not 4,000 or 5,000 years old. That Great Pyramid is about 38,000 years old. And so is the Sphinx. His father told him to build the Sphinx and put his face on it, And then later on, that face was recarved. This is why the face is not the right size for the body to his nephew's face. But the face was never the face of a lion. But this guy was the master architect. He laid down the blueprint for how to do this. In the Emerald Tablets, he takes a crew with him on the great ship that descends on the land of Chem, rebuilds the land of Chem. He says something very interesting in this text. After spending many years there, they don't specify exactly how many, but they say many, many years, rebuilding the land of Chem, he tells that crew, that team that came with that original team, to spread out around the world and duplicate what we did here. Then all of a sudden, what happens? Pyramids pop up all around the world, megalithic structures, megalithic temples all around the world, all using the same exact building technique. Thoth himself even leaves Africa, takes Olmecs with him, and leaves his brother Amun-Ra in charge, and he goes to Mesoamerica and builds the Teotihuacan civilization and builds that whole Teotihuacan pyramid complex, which, by the way, is aligned with Orion, the same exact formation as the ones in Africa, at Egypt, right, at Giza. And also what? Built on top of an aquifer. The base of the Pyramid of the Sun is exactly the same size as the base of the pyramid, Great Pyramid at Giza. And the height is exactly 50% the height down to the millimeter of the Great Pyramid at Giza. Again,
down to the millimeter?
Down to the millimeter. And this is, again, what? One master architect, again, showcasing his talents and going all around the world. This guy is known everywhere I've gone on the planet. I went to Africa. He's obviously all throughout Africa. He's known as Tahuti, Jehuti, Thoth, right? According to the ancient Egyptians, he ruled for 16,000 years, one person. In China, he's Wang Di, the first emperor of China, who came down on a fiery dragon. Sounds like a flying ship. Ruled over to China for decades, for several centuries, and then just got on this flying dragon and disappeared again. In Mexico, he's known as Quetzalcoatl, Lord Pakal, Kukulkan. He comes in on again a what? According to the Mayans, a fiery dragon, and he's there. What he built? Chichen Itza, Teotihuacan, Cobol, all these places were developed. The Mayans didn't build anything. They inherited what was already there. The Aztecs didn't build anything. It was already there. And that's even in their own records. Matter of fact, they didn't even know who the people were originally that built some of this stuff, so they gave them the name Teotihuacans. But in the Emerald Tablets, it tells you exactly who it was. And so I was out in Australia, in the outback, in the middle of nowhere. A gigantic petroglyph of who? Thoth, out of Kemet, in Australia, carved into rock in the ground. They call him Thoth-Amabi in Australia. The Aboriginal people call him Thoth-Amabi, and he's on a ship flying through the Milky Way galaxy. That's what it is, a giant disc, and he's sitting on this thing, and they say that's him flying through the Milky Way galaxy.
Wow.
And, so the more you look into it, these structures, they were built by people, not aliens. In other words, Thoth, in my opinion, wasn't from this planet, and also his relatives, but they had the people doing the labor. They taught the construction techniques, and they had the blueprints on how to do this. They weren't going to get out there themselves and do all this hard labor, but they had the blueprints. They laid out the foundation, and they said, hey, this is how we do this, and we're going to do this all around the entire planet.
I mean, how do you think it was built?
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.